Hello, friends. Welcome and namaste. So, I'm just getting back from my silent meditation retreat. And maybe you were doing yoga the whole time I was gone, but most of my regulars tell me that they are doing the material as I'm putting it up and not necessarily doing it when I'm out of town. So, have you blocks towards the front of your mat, just somewhere in that general region, though we don't have to look for them later. And we're going to start lying down on our backs. So, today I'm calling it slow and steady wins the race, right? We're just going to work on getting back into these beautiful bodies and getting that relationship back with movement, or this particular kind of movement anyway. So just find yourself in your most comfortable beginning position. Hands on belly, one hand belly, one on heart, arms in Shavasana, legs in constructive rest, legs in Shavasana. Find that place where you can just kind of feel yourself start to soften into the mat, the earth, this practice. Notice the points of contact you have with the earth, and that's what we call grounding, right? Making sure that we have this connection with the earth energy. We've got that stability. Maybe even visualizing roots growing down or whatever that is to you. And then notice what's not on the earth. Now, the parts we tend to go to and sense really easily are pain, right? Pain tends to dominate. Or maybe somewhere you always have tension in your jaw, so you go to your jaw and you're used to that line. So that's wonderful, but don't spend your whole time there, right? Check into as many areas as you can. Just notice, including the tip of the nose, right? Those areas that usually don't have anything major going on, and just making sure we still have those mental connections to these areas of the body. I like to think of this as mental mapping. Notice the breath. You don't have to change it immediately. Notice how you're breathing. It is a wealth of information about the state of your body, right? It affects the nervous system, and the nervous system affects everything from your heart rate to your blood pressure, your sugar levels. It affects your hormones and whether or not they're the endocrine system is working properly. And then if it feels beneficial, appropriate, start to slow that breath down and smooth it out. And that happens without stress or strain. It doesn't have to, right? I've worked with a lot of people who stress and strain for it. I've had my moments. So no stress, no strain. See if we can't smooth that breath out and slow it down. Now our first moves that we're going to do, we're going to leave our upper body in a Shavasana style pose. Have your feet on the ground and have the feet hip distance. Let's meet there. So we're not using our arms. I repeat, do not use the arms. Use the belly muscles. Inhale, hug the right knee in towards the body. You're not stabilizing anything. Exhale and bring that foot down. And then you'll inhale the left knee in and you'll exhale and you bring it down. So still that slow, smooth, steady breath. Move nice and slow. Let the breath match, the movement match that slow, steady breath. And if we don't try to stabilize, when the knees come in towards the chest, what happens in the pelvis and the low back? And if your upper body is really soft, I mean, what happens in the neck? Where are you on the back of your skull? That's affected by this too, right? So just noticing what happens throughout the torso and the skull, the head, when the knee moves up and in, and then of course it does something different when the knee moves away from the chest. Now, the next time you have a knee into your chest, leave it there. Doesn't matter which one. Bring the other knee in as well. So both knees are in now. We're just going to slide our arms up without lifting the weight of the arms. Nice and lazy like. Really small motions, right, center, left, center with the knees. So just this very beginning of this wringing out action of the abdomen. Don't get too aggro with it or too muscular, right? We're just keeping it nice and simple here in the beginning. And rather than thinking of it as a twist, I would like you to again bring your awareness into the back of your pelvis and your low back and notice how you're rocking across a lot of that musculature. Now do little circles with the knees, and your hands can come on them if you want that extra support or if your low back is particularly sensitive or some such thing. But you can leave the arms where they are otherwise and go ahead and go the other way. And again, I'm going to suggest you don't make the circle too big because again, this part is not about core work. I want you to pay attention to what happens with the muscles and the tissues on the back of the pelvis and low back when your knees move in this motion. The next time their knees are to the chest, let them come all the way over to the right and let the knees come as far away as they want to get that right pinky toe down towards the earth. Pick up the head if it's okay, turn it to the left and soften in. So try to be as passive as you can possibly be right here. Slow, steady breath. And just a reminder that you could always put blocks or blankets under the right thigh, between the thighs, if that helps your body soften in this sometimes. Not you, right? I always like to remind people, like, sometimes when I'm talking, I'm talking to your nervous system more than I'm talking to you. Your rational brain is like, yes, I'm really, but it might be that the nervous system just needs something for that left leg to rest into in order for it to feel safe to let go. So why deny that to the body? Coming up the gentle way, we're going to bring the left knee up first and then the right knee towards the chest. Rock back and forth a couple of times. Baby moves. And then let the legs go all the way over to the left. Maybe the left knee or the knees come away from the body. That left pinky toe makes it down. And again, if it's possible or if you need to, you can support legs with blocks and blankets. Let's maybe pick the head up and turn it right and set it back down if that feels okay. And I forgot to point it out on the other side, but a lot of us will have the shoulder lift, or maybe it lifts on one side, but it doesn't lift on the other, which gives us information, right? To be vague about it, one side is a little tighter than the other. Where's that tightness coming from? Well, that can get pretty complex. We're going to inhale that right knee back up and then the left knee. Go ahead and put those feet down on the ground. Slide your arms back down to that Shavasana style upper body and situate yourself as needed. Walk your feet a little forward towards the front of the mat. So they're just a little bit further away. The heels are a little bit further away from the buttocks bones. This next part that we're going to do, so soft, so subtle, y'all. You're going to keep your feet where they are on the ground. They get stuck on a sticky mat. I call this traction, right? It's an isometric action. You're going to pull your feet back to your buttocks bones. And if your feet are stuck on the sticky mat and don't actually move, that's just energetic. You're starting to fire up your hamstrings. Release that. Right, so now let's add breath. Inhale, traction the heels back to the buttocks bones, turn on the hamstrings. Exhale, soften. So just keep going with that pattern. Every time you inhale, you're tractioning the feet towards the buttocks. And every time you exhale, you're releasing. Super slow and steady. Take the whole inhale, right? To slowly, gently pull back to that fuller place, right? Now, the next time you pull back, stay pulled in. What does your pelvis do? Does it lift up into a cow tilt or does it go down to the earth towards a cat? Right? And again, don't try to change anything. You're just noticing patterns right now. Release that and let go and just soften. Now go ahead and walk your feet back a little closer to your buttocks bones. We're going to do some pelvic tilts and then we'll move them into bridges. So first, the hips do not lift. I repeat, the hips do not lift. Rock towards the upper rim of the pelvis. Pull the belly down a little bit. And then rock towards the tailbone and your low back lifts a little bit. So move back and forth between those two positions of the pelvis without the pelvis leaving the floor. Pardon me. Whew. right? And then the next time it's in the down position, aka cat, I want you to go ahead and lift the tailbone, the sacrum, the L5, the L4, so rolling up into rolling bridge. And then when you exhale, you're going to roll down again. So now do that a few times, right? First start with that cow tuck, I'm going to call it, and then slowly roll up one vertebrae at a time. And then, of course, you're going to slowly roll down as well. Don't worry about getting really high or anything. We'll add in a little bit. This time when you roll up, stay up. So whenever you get up into your rolling bridge, pause. Now, before we add upper body, I want you to pull your feet back to your, what are they called, shoulders. I want you to move your thighs into an imaginary block. Imagine you're peeing and stop yourself from peeing midstream. This should be familiar from about 2 months ago. Pull your frontal hip points towards each other so the deepest core is turned on. Now, slide your arms in and grab your mat. Try to slide one shoulder under and then the other at a time, right? And now bring the upper body, but notice, did the lower body get lost? Try to traction the heels back, those same 4 actions the whole time, right? Heels back, thighs neutral, I'm going to call it, pelvic floor turned on and corset turned on. Now pull your mat apart like a piece of paper, see if we can't activate the rhomboids in the back side of the body to open the chest. And roll down, pause, breathe, notice. Okay, one more time in the same vein. Grab the mat ahead of time this time. Don't do the upper body though till last. So we're going to tuck the tailbone, roll up into bridge. Once we're up in a bridge, we're going to traction the heels back. We have an imaginary block, pelvic floor, corset, right? Now keep that low body turned on above all else today. Roll the other shoulder underneath you first and then the original. Now pull the mat apart. Keep that low body work that we're working on today. Maybe you bring in for the interlace. So maybe you bring the hands in and you interlace the hands behind you so you can get a little more of that external rotation in your arms. And if you're interlacing, push your wrists out into an imaginary strap. And again, try to strengthen and activate the muscles of the upper back. And yes, of course, the chest opens because of that. And roll down. You may or may not know this, but in many parts of the body, there's this thing called protagonist, right? In order for one side to lengthen, the other side has to shorten and vice versa. Breathe. Okay, bring the knees in. If you need a little rock here before you come up after back bends, take it. When you're ready, grab the backs of the thighs, rock up, and let's all meet in downward facing dog. Again, make sure those blocks are at the front of your mat if you think you're going to want them. That way you don't have to go looking for them. First downward dog. Feel free to move however suits you and helps you find little extra spaces in the nooks and the crannies. And of course, stillness is always an option. Inhale the right leg up. Let that hip lift as high as it can, the right hip. Maybe heel towards right buttocks, aka bend the right knee. And then look for length, right? Opposition. You know, I teach that a lot. Hands push forward and down as the right knee moves up and back. Bringing that down. You're going to inhale the left leg up. Same thing. Let that left hip really lift as high as it can and bend the knee. And then push your hands forward and down even as your left knee moves back and up. Bring that down. Inhale the right leg up into the air and step it forward. And if you need to bring the knees down to do that, please do. Bring those blocks in if you would like. And bend that right knee to about a 90-ish, depending on your knee and all the things. Push that left heel back and reach the chest forward, the crown of the head forward, and try to get the longest spine you possibly can. Now turn on those deep four of the stable the deep core stabilizers. Blah, blah, blah. Put your hands on the thigh, and as you push down, try to pull the frontal hip points up and see if you can't start to access the left psoas. You might play with bend the knee a little bit. Does that help you find that line? And then maybe it straightens a little bit, maybe it stays a little bit bent. So there's no issue with having a bent back knee on this part of the pose, right? Depending on what we're trying to do, what we're trying to find. You're going to inhale that left arm up if it's okay, and there's an apple directly above you. I want you to reach up and grab the apple, but be careful. Reach from your side waist and not from your left shoulder. Soften the left trap out of the ear if that's you. You can lean over further and bring the arm over. I'm going to keep reaching straight up because that's where I'm finding, I just happen to know this because I did this practice earlier today. That's where I'm finding my good juju. Bring the hands down. Feel free to leave the blocks under as you step back to a downward dog. It's going to actually help you get that left foot forward with more ease. Inhale the left leg up and step that foot forward, however you want to get there, and then find ourselves meeting in high lunge. So from there, right heel back, crown of the head and chest forward, shoulder blades down the back and shoulders out of the ears, all the stuff, right? You can stay here. You can bring the right knee down, by the way. Put the hands on that thigh, and I'm pushing down, not to shove my shoulders back. That's the easy part, and it's not awesome on the low back, right? I'm going to push down to pull my frontal hip points up. And of course, I might bend my right knee a little bit and work it, straighten it, bend it, kind of play around until I'm like, oh, front or right hip, there it is. Hang out, take a breath. Maybe right arm reaches up and you grab an apple out of a tree directly above you. Soften that right shoulder down away from the ear. And then maybe you lean a little further over and maybe that's where you find what you need. Again, I'm reaching straight up and that's where I'm finding that extra length through my psoas in the front of my abdomen. And down. Move those blocks, please. Step on back. Downward dog. Inhale forward to the top of a push-up. High plank, we call this. Exhale back. Downward facing dog. Keep those core stabilizers, right? Inhale, forward, high plank. And this time we're coming down. Rock forward on your tippy toes. And if you're bringing your knees down, now's the time. Brush the elbows by the side as you lower. And inhale up into low cobra. Exhale down. So you're going to do that 3 times. This is number 2. Remember, keep that tailbone drilling down and the belly pulling up so the low back stays ultra long. And the 3rd time, we're going to stay up. You don't have to be high. Bring the hands up into what I call training wheel. Those who are usually with me, you know this well. We've been doing this lately. Let that right shoulder roll down to the midline as you turn and look under your left arm. Inhale up, and then you go to the other side. You'll do 2 of those if that feels all right. And I can't say it enough, y'all. Keep that low belly pulled up so your low back stays long and protected, especially with adding these additional movements in while in an upper back bend. And if it doesn't feel right, crocodile will meet you there in a hot second. Okay. When you're finished, we all meet in crocodile, or a version of it anyway. So let's let our knees walk out as wide as our mat-ish. Bend the knees. Bring the inner edges of your feet together. And this is that one we often do for the low back and the sacrum. So your right arch slides down your left leg towards the knee, and then vice versa. Now, I like to do both versions. I like to keep when my right foot goes down, my left leg kind of stays still or where it is a little bit, right? And then after I've done that a few times, I bring in the full windshield wiper kind of variation where both shins or both heels move right, center, left, center. So play with it however you wish. Some people like to circle. I mean, I do too sometimes. And it brings a whole different kind of thing. So whatever movements feel like they're helping you create space and just gentle love in that back of the pelvis, the hips. Come back down with the feet. Bring the legs back into hip distance. We're going to push back to child's pose, love bugs. So bring your hands like you were going to do a low cobra. Turn on your deepest core muscles. Please your stabilizers. And then push back to child's. Ah, soften in. Always, always, if you need something else, take it. Take a few breaths. Now, if you have time to lie on your back, you could lie on your back and do a happy baby and move into Shavasana. But I was trying to make just a slightly shorter than a 30 minutes so that, people who have less time on a particular day can still fit something in that feels like it's opening the body and getting you ready for your day or to end the day or whatever. So if you're coming up, come on up to kneeling or sitting. If you can, roll onto your back and finish your practice in that way. Otherwise, either way, namaste. May you be well, friends. Slow and steady wins the race. May our intention be to not rush through things today.